Okay, let's do this properly. Stop for a moment. Not metaphorically. Literally stop. Don't scroll. Don't tap the screen. Ignore the buzzing, the blinking icons, the silent pressure telling you to move on. Just listen. Right now, you feel it, that pressure. That constant sense that something is pushing you forward. Time. This second feels like it's already slipping away. Tomorrow feels like it's rushing toward you at full speed. Deadlines, bills, messages, aging, all closing in. The clock never stops. But pause right there. Ask a question most people never dare ask. Where is time? Not the glowing digits on your phone. Not the reminders stacked in your calendar. Not the ticking sound on a wall. The real thing. If time is a real entity, if it truly exists, it should have a location. It should occupy space. It should be detectable, measurable as itself, not through side effects. You can weigh flour. You can measure distance with a tape. You can detect radiation, particles, forces. So where is time? Try to chase it down. The harder you look, the stranger it becomes. Time has no coordinates, no mass, no texture, no physical footprint, and yet this invisible nothing dominates your emotions. It fuels anxiety when you're late. It stings as regret over choices you can't undo. It whispers panic when the mirror shows new lines you didn't notice last year. So here's the idea that refuses to go away. What if time isn't real in the way we assume? What if it isn't an external force at all? What if time is something your brain manufactures, and you've been living inside that illusion your entire life? From the moment we're born, we're soaked in phrases like, time heals all wounds. Time is the most valuable thing you have. Time flies when you're having fun. Time and tide wait for no one. Notice how we talk about it, as if it's tangible. A river flowing past us. Money in a wallet that can be spent or wasted. Fuel in a tank slowly draining. But let's be brutally honest. Has any human ever directly observed time itself? Not the effects, not aging skin, rusting metal, wilting flowers. The thing itself. No experiment has ever isolated time. No instrument has ever photographed it streaming by. What we encounter constantly, relentlessly, is change. Snow melts. Batteries drain. Songs once familiar now sound distant. The sky shifts from dawn to midnight. Your mind collects these discrete changes and stitches them into a continuous story. Before, after, now, in between. That story is so smooth, so automatic, that we mistake it for reality. Change happens. That's undeniable. Time is the organizing framework your brain overlays to make sense of sequence. People push back immediately, but we measure time precisely. Clocks tick. Atomic clocks are accurate to billionths of a second. That must mean time is real, right? Look closer. What does a clock actually do? It tracks repetitive motion. A pendulum swings back and forth. A quartz crystal vibrates 32,768 times per second. A cesium atom flips energy states billions of times. Incredible precision. But the label 1 second is a human agreement. We chose that many cycles and named it. We could have chosen differently. The universe wouldn't notice. Now imagine every clock on Earth stops at once. Does reality freeze? Do rivers halt? Do neurons stop firing? Do stars pause mid-explosion? Of course not. Wind still blows. Cells divide. People argue, laugh, fall in love. What disappears is not reality. Only our shared method of labeling it. Clocks measure motion. They don't capture an independent substance called time. For over 2 centuries, humanity trusted a simple, elegant idea. Time flows uniformly and absolutely. One universal clock governing everything. Same pace everywhere. Independent of motion, location, or observer. It worked beautifully. It predicted planets, powered machines, guided ships across oceans. It felt obvious, and that made it dangerous. Then, in the early 20th century, a quiet disruption began. A young physicist asked an innocent question. What happens to time if observers move differently? Imagine two identical clocks. One stays on Earth. The other travels in a rocket near the speed of light, then returns. When they reunite, the traveling clock shows less elapsed time. The astronaut has aged less. Not because of malfunction. Not illusion. Not perspective. Time itself passed differently. This wasn't speculation. Atomic clocks flown on airplanes confirmed it. Satellites confirm it every day. GPS only works because engineers correct for time dilation. The implication is unavoidable. There is no universal now. Your present moment is not the universe's present moment. Simultaneity depends on motion and gravity. Time depends on the observer, and anything that depends on perspective cannot be fundamental. Push this idea further, and something unsettling emerges. If time stretches and contracts, if gravity alters it, if velocity reshapes it, then time behaves more like space than a flowing river. You move through space, but space itself doesn't advance. Time appears to work the same way. It exists as a dimension, not a current. This is where a brutally honest physicist enters the picture. Someone who hated vague metaphors and poetic shortcuts. Someone who trusted equations more than intuition. Richard Feynman. Feynman kept pointing out something most people missed. At the deepest level of physics, time stops being special. Elementary particles don't experience duration. They don't wait. They don't feel long or short. They interact. State meets state. Conditions produce outcomes. No cosmic clock is ticking in the background. Feynman often admitted, bluntly, that we don't actually know what time is. We know how to order events. We know how to compare sequences. But time itself? That's a concept we use, not something nature announces. Try a stripped-down thought experiment. Imagine a universe with exactly two particles. No observers. No memory. No consciousness. The particles collide once. Something happens. Cause leads to effect. Now ask, where is time in that universe? There is change. There is interaction. But there is no past or future. Those ideas require memory, a system capable of recording and comparing states. Without a mind, time has nowhere to exist. Now turn inward. Remember childhood? A single afternoon felt endless. Every sensation vivid. Every detail fresh. Now look at adulthood. Weeks blur. Months vanish. Did time accelerate? No. Your brain changed. Novel experiences create dense memory networks. Dense memories stretch subjective duration. Routine creates sparse encoding. Sparse memory compresses perceived time. Your sense of time emerges from memory density, not clocks. Feynman emphasized something quietly radical. Nature doesn't care about clock. Photons cross galaxies without impatience. Atoms vibrate endlessly, without fatigue. The laws describe relationships between configurations of the universe. One arrangement connects to another. Time is a coordinate we add for convenience, not a driving force embedded in reality. This leads to one of the most unsettling models in modern physics. The block universe. Picture space-time not as a movie playing frame by frame, but as a complete, four-dimensional structure. Every event exists. Birth. This moment, your final breath, the death of stars, Nothing flows. Nothing is created or erased. Your experience of now is a spotlight, a narrow beam scanning across an already complete structure. The structure doesn't move. You do. This feels wrong because memory is asymmetric. You remember the past. You don't remember the future. That asymmetry creates urgency, but physics doesn't privilege one moment over another. There is no universal present. Causality is built into relationships, not into a flowing timeline. Your choices matter, not because the future is empty, but because your choices are part of the structure itself. Entropy explains why time feels directional. The universe began in a low entropy state. Order allowed records to form. We remember the past because the past left traces. The future hasn't yet. The arrow comes from information, not from time flowing forward. Death becomes the hardest implication. In a block universe, moments don't vanish. Every joy, every failure, every ordinary afternoon, all permanently inscribed. Death is not erasure. It's the end of the scanning process. No new frames are experienced, but the story remains. Some find this terrifying. Others find it freeing. If moments don't disappear, meaning deepens. Nothing is overwritten. Every act is eternal in structure. Time, then, is a powerful interface. Like money, like language. Not fundamentally real, but incredibly useful. It organizes chaos, creates urgency, allows meaning. Feynman never claimed physics should comfort you, only that it should be honest. Wonder matters more than certainty. So next time the pressure rises, ask gently, is time really running out? Or is your attention bouncing between memory and imagination? Because the universe isn't late. It isn't early. It's complete. This moment isn't slipping away. It already exists. And right now, you are here, inside it. And here's the part that most explanations avoid. If time is not fundamental, if it doesn't flow the way we intuitively feel it does, then why does urgency feel so sharp? Why does every human culture, across history, obsess over deadlines, seasons, aging, and endings? Because the experience of time is not a property of the universe. It is a survival interface. Your brain evolved to prioritize change, not because change implies time, but because change implies danger or opportunity. A predator moving closer, food spoiling, a storm approaching. The nervous system learned to track sequences, store them, and project forward. That projection feels like time rushing ahead. But what's really happening is constant prediction. The brain is always running simulations. What happens if I don't act? What happens if I wait? What happens if I choose wrong? This predictive loop creates tension. That tension is interpreted as time pressure. Strip prediction away, and time collapses. This is why people in extreme situations report strange temporal distortions. Car accidents where everything feels slow. Near-death experiences where entire lifetimes flash by in seconds. Deep meditation where hours vanish unnoticed. Psychedelic states where past and future seem to coexist. Reality does not change in these moments. The brain's sequencing does. Time stretches or compresses because perception does. If time were an external substance, none of this would be possible. Consider sleep. Every night, consciousness shuts down. No awareness, no narrative, no memory encoding. From your perspective, 8 hours disappear instantly. You close your eyes, you open them, and morning arrives. Where did those hours go? They didn't go anywhere. They existed without you experiencing them. Which means experience is not required for time to pass, or more precisely, that passing is the wrong word entirely. The universe does not require your awareness to continue existing, but your awareness requires sequencing to function. And that sequencing is what you call time. Now think about aging. We say time causes aging, but look closer. Cells divide. DNA accumulates errors. Telomeres shorten. Chemical reactions occur. Entropy increases locally. None of this requires time as an independent force. Aging is a process, not a clock. If time suddenly stopped, whatever that would even mean, processes would still be processes. Interactions would still occur. There is no pause button in nature labeled time. We blame time because it's psychologically convenient. Time becomes the villain. But biology tells a different story. This is why the phrase time heals is misleading. Time doesn't heal anything. Processes do. Neural pathways weaken. Emotional associations decay. New patterns form. The brain rewires itself. Healing is change, not time passing. At this point, many people push back emotionally. They say, if everything already exists, then nothing matters. But this conclusion is backwards. In a flowing time universe, moments vanish forever. They are erased as soon as they pass. In a block universe, nothing is erased. Every action is permanent. Every word spoken is etched into structure. Meaning doesn't diminish, it intensifies. Your kindness doesn't disappear into the past. Your mistakes aren't washed away by time. They remain, not as punishment, but as reality. This reframes responsibility in a profound way. You are not racing against time. You are contributing to structure. What you do becomes part of what is. Not temporarily, forever. Now consider fear of the future. The future feels threatening because it feels unknown. But unknown does not mean unreal. It means unaccessed. Just like distant galaxies were real before telescopes existed. Just like atoms were real before microscopes. Ignorance is not non-existence. It is limitation of perspective. The present moment feels special not because it's the only thing that exists, but because it's the only slice your consciousness can sample. Like a cursor blinking on a massive document. The cursor feels important, but the document is already written. This doesn't rob life of freedom. It redefines it. Freedom is not about creating reality from nothing. It's about being the cause you already are. Your decisions matter because they are woven into the fabric itself. Not because the future is empty, but because it is structured with you inside it. Richard Feynman once warned against demanding comfort from physics. Nature is not obligated to align with human intuition. Our intuitions evolved to keep us alive, not to reveal cosmic truth. Time feels real because that feeling helped our ancestors survive. That doesn't make it fundamental. So when anxiety creeps in, when the sense of running out tightens your chest, recognize what's happening. Your brain is simulating futures, replaying pasts, jumping between them so fast that it feels like pressure. But the universe itself is not rushing. Nothing is slipping away. Nothing is arriving too late. This moment is not fragile. It is not fleeting. It is not dissolving. It is fixed, as real as any other moment that ever existed. You are not losing time. You are navigating awareness. And once you see that, just a little, the urgency loosens. The fear softens. Not because nothing matters, but because everything already does.